Welcome back to #adulting, everybody. I'm Zack Peter.
And I'm Abigail Fraher.
How you doing, boo? Are you still surviving?
I'm good. I think I'm going to be better after this whole episode. There's a lot of questions on my mind.
So many questions that people send in. Most of which that I just have of my own. Well, you guys, quarantine life is getting real. Some of us have been real horny, and some of us have been really not in the mood. So today we're tackling all of your sex from home questions, from how to love yourself without going sore, how to lovingly say no to your partner for the 4th time today, and how to keep those socially distanced relationships spicy. Here to help give us some real talk about sex and relationships, it's the host from the Shameless Sex Podcast. Please welcome April Lampert and Amy Baldwin.
Oh, thank you for having us. We're happy to be here virtually, not in person. I know. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for this podcast and to share all sorts of tips and tricks for this quarantine lockdown life.
We have so many questions and a couple of tips that we've learned on our own. We were discussing it this morning, how our sex lives have been, we've gotten to keep them spicy.
We're trying. So before we jump into everything with you guys, we want to just give our audience and give you guys a chance to, break some ice. We're all really pretty comfortable with each other by now, but it's a good a little work thing to get our audience comfortable with you guys and to have them kind of understand where you're coming from a little bit more too. So what I'm going to do is, it's called espresso yourself. I'm going to start the sentence and then you will end it for me. So we can start maybe with April, and then we'll have you answer after. Okay? Perfect. So sentence 1, I can't start my day without
a meditation, a cup of coffee.
I love it. Amy?
Same. I was like trying to think, do I have anything else creative? No, same, meditation and a cup of coffee, but I don't always get the meditation part, but I always get the coffee. And I always get the coffee. The meditation has to come before the coffee. Otherwise I'm like,
that was my question.
During the meditation.
Okay. So it's meditation and then you reward yourself with the coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, I do my meditation while my coffee is brewing. It's something to look forward to, and I can smell it in the background.
That's a good one. See, I like meditating at night, but
it's like you're doing like a coffee meditation over there. Yeah. Just meditating on the scent of the aroma, soon to be. So relaxing.
I'm manifesting a hot cup of coffee.
So the next one is, I feel sexiest when?
I feel sexiest right after a hot, sweaty workout.
Oh. Okay. With the hair down, do you take the hair down and like kind of let the sweat, like I'm picturing it in like slow motion?
Definitely not if I do a hot Pilates or hot yoga class, but if I do my gym workout, I do feel hot and sexy then, and like I power walk out of there, and usually my hair does come down. It does. I do take it down.
Love it. Amy, what about you?
I feel sexiest when I'm naked in nature in the hot sun.
Oh.
Wow.
I like that.
Does that happen often? How often are you in the sun?
I just did this the other day. My partner and I went and drove down to, in our social isolation, we went down into this nature spot that I love that's about 2 hours away. And there's this swimming hole, but if you go back a ways, there's this kind of private area that a lot of people don't know about. And we just get naked and hang out back there, maybe have some sex and things. So, and I just feel like my hot earth mama come out.
Yes.
Did you use SPF on your labia, Amy, on the vulva? Did you slap some SPF on there? Because that part doesn't see a lot of sun and you don't want to get burned.
Burns easily.
You need a strong SPF there.
Note to self, maybe we should go in on start our own company on SPF for the bits. Bit SPF.
It's a great name. So this kind of then, April kind of led us into the next one, when I go to the gym. So you're like a hot Pilates, hot yoga is your preferred?
I do. I just need activity, at least 30 minutes, at least 5 to 6 days a week. So, so I guess, I mean, I'm just an active human, whatever. I like free weights and yoga, and I have to, otherwise my brain just doesn't operate at a high capacity. So I have to. I already did my workout today, 30 minutes.
Look at you, killing it.
Yeah, but I miss weights.
Me too. Oh my God. It's so like not having, it's
Do you look for stuff to pick up around your house that weighs certain things? I'm like taking my
wine
dog. I'm like, come on. like
Wine bottles. Wine bottles.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good idea.
I lift wine bottles and martinis.
Oh, that's going to be my next workout. Thank you for that.
I did squats with Aubrey the other day. He weighs about 20 pounds. So he was a little helpful, but you know, it's hard. It's hard not having weights. April, I think
did I answer the question? No, Amy's next.
Oh, is it my turn next? Oh. You
kind of did answer it.
Did I not?
You just need to go to the gym. What do you do?
I do my BBG. It's like Bikini Body Guide, or it's like that sweat app. I've used it for like 3.5 years, and it has totally changed my life because it's 28 minutes. So I'm not in the gym for 2 hours because I don't have the patience for that. So it's 28 minutes and then a little bit of stretching, and it's free weights, and you don't have to be advanced gym rat to understand the program. So,
and what is it?
It's called the Sweat app. It's by Kayla Itness or something. It's awesome.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then Amy and I are huge hot Pilates fans too, and hot yoga. Amy's a diehard for sure.
Yeah. When I go to the gym, I turn right around and go to my hot yoga studio instead. I don't go into the gym. I go to a hot yoga, hot Pilates studio here in Santa Cruz called Hot Source. But right now we can't go because of the quarantine and they're shut down. So I actually do it online. So now it's not hot. I'm in my house. I put my heater on. So I call it more like warm Pilates and warm yoga. And I just do it from home.
Do you have the equipment that you do it with, or how are you doing Pilates at home?
So their Pilates is a little more like an aerobic workout than is traditional Pilates with the equipment. So it still has a lot of core, but there's also like a lot of high impact movements too. So sometimes it just feels like boot camp. But yeah, I just do it with my yoga mat here. I have 2 weights if I need it. Now I can just do it online through Hot Source, and it's not quite the same. I don't get like that sweat, because that sweat to me is like, God, there's something so healing and cleansing about that. So I'm definitely missing that.
Oh yeah.
And then lastly, before we jump into everything, I feel most like a boss when
Well, I used to say when I would close some deals, but that's a little bit behind me with this quarantine situation. So I would say I feel most like a boss after Amy and I finish recording our Shameless Sex podcast.
That's you feel like complete, accomplished.
Yes.
Is there ever a time that stands out to you more than, or is every episode you kind of have that same feeling afterwards?
I always feel accomplished. Not every episode is like, we nailed it. Some of them, sometimes I'm a little like, oh, I wish we would have explored this topic more deeply, or I wish we would have, but typically just having the content out there, we give our heart and soul. And as I try to show up and give 100% of myself, and it always feels really good. And I do feel like a boss after we finish. So I love it. I love the work.
Good.
Love that.
Yeah, mine's going to be similar. I feel like a boss when we release an episode and then get feedback from listeners about how it somehow changed their lives or moved them or inspired them or inspired them to leave their verbally abusive partner, or to finally ask for what they want, or to finally get
try anal for the first time.
Yeah, anal for the first time.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, that I'm like, fuck yes, we're doing this. We can say fuck on here, right?
Oh, you could, yes.
We can say anal.
I say anal.
I mean, if there's any time to try anal for the first time, like do it at home. Get a cucumber, and you can just like exploration.
Get creative. Now's the time. Get in the now.
Exactly.
Test out all your kinks. So that kind of divvies into my first question, which is really just about like masturbation. I feel like everybody right now is probably like going down on themselves like 5 times a day. And I just want to know from you guys that are kind of like the sex experts, is it possible to have too much masturbation with yourself?
Mm-hmm. I would say too much masturbation only happens when it's getting in the way of your everyday life. Like if you're not going to your Zoom work meetings anymore and answering your emails, and you're not talking to your loved ones because you can't get out of the bedroom and stop wanking yourself, then it might be worthy of looking at. And it's like, interesting. This might have become sort of an addiction of some sort, or am I using this to distract myself, or to escape from the things that don't feel good? And of course, I'm sure you could wank yourself to the point where you're raw and things are hurting, and most people don't really do that unless you're like not using lube. And my advice would be for folks when they're self-pleasuring is to incorporate some more mindful self-pleasuring instead of just like trying to rub one out to get that orgasm, to go slower and be present with all the touch and sensation. One, because you can feel a lot more. There's a lot more that can come through. A lot of times we're moving towards the goal of orgasm. We bypass all the yummy little things, those baby steps, those little sensations that are along the way. And that can often make orgasm even more intense when we go slower and are present for it. And then also, it's just a really wonderful act of self-care when we're showing up for ourselves in that way. It's like a different way of experiencing pleasure and using pleasure almost as medicine as opposed to just like an escape. So I think that's when it can be too much, right? When you're using it just to escape a whole bunch, maybe it isn't going to work in your favor all the time. When you're using it as medicine, like this is producing feel good endorphins, this is helping me connect to my body, this is helping me to be more present and not just like on my cell phone looking at all the doomsday things that are happening in the world, then it can be really, really, really helpful and really beneficial.
Just wanted to pop in and send some love to this week's sponsor. This episode of #Adulting is brought to you by Best Fiends. So you know I'm not much of a gamer, but I love a good challenge, especially when it's fun. Last week I told you guys about this mobile puzzle game, Best Fiends. Well, not to toot my own horn, but I've since made it up to level 72, baby. Best Fiends has been like a sanity saver for me. Every time I need a little break from work or an adventure that doesn't take me from the couch to the refrigerator again, I just pull out my phone, check in on my adorable little fiends, and take down yet another slug. It's a great way to keep my mind active and my boredom distracted. If I could give you yet another #Adulting life hack for this week, it's to go and give Best Fiends a try right now. It's fun and it's easy to download straight to your phone, so you've got nothing to lose. Engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. Trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must-play. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R, Best Fiends.
Abigail, how's your sex life taking a toll right now?
It's well, you ladies don't know, but my sex life has been like non-existent, like with another partner. I mean, I'm very open with masturbating and doing all, and that's kind of why, like, I'm at this place now where I'm like, I don't want to invest in just somebody to fuck. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. Not that I was looking for it for a while.
I just need somebody to fuck. Yeah. I'm lonely. I'm sad and I'm lonely. And, like, I just need somebody to fuck right now.
So we're a little opposite. So I'm like very much like taking my time. I got out of a 4-year relationship. Like, I'm ready to like kind of get back out there now, I think, after this quarantine. But my sex life has picked up a little bit, which I guess we'll talk about later when we talk about like sexting, video sex, all those things. It's picked up a little bit during this quarantine, I have to say, but the masturbation I think is on par. I'm like an every other dayer, I would say. Yeah. And that's healthy, right?
Are you using like your hands? Are you watching
Vibrators?
Oh, what's your favorite vibrators?
Wow, I have a bunch, but I just got this new one, and it's smaller than, it's like a clitoral vibrator, and it's very textured, and I like mine like very strong.
Me too.
It's strong, and I love it because like normally I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know if I'm just like, I try to keep them under 150, but I don't buy like cheap ones. And sometimes I'm just like, this isn't strong enough. But the one I just got is awesome. So usually I warm up with one and then I have another one.
Nice. I like that.
Me too. Yeah. And then there's also one that's like more of like I guess it kind of looks like a leaf, but it's supposed to mimic like a tongue. And I think that one's like, it's okay. It's,
yeah.
It's fine.
April, I think that like or in general, before, you know, having to be quarantined in self-isolation, we were afraid to like ask for what we want in bed, and we didn't really know what we liked. So are there things that we can do while we're at home right now to kind of explore our body a little more, so that when we come out and we're able to see people again, we're like, homie, I want you to do it like this. I want you to get down there like that.
I love this question because I feel there's always a chance, even without quarantine, to explore your body, right? And so you can tell no one's a mind reader, and we forget this. We get into relationships that are really long term. We've been with someone for 5 years or 10 years, and we expect them to know how to turn us on. But our bodies change all the time, right? They shift from day to day, month to month. So your desires and your actual what turns you on and your pleasure focus can change. And that's why self-discovery is so important. And I am a person that I kind of know, like, I get off from clitoral orgasms. Like, I need external stimulation to help me orgasm. However, I've learned, but because I started exploring my body, trying anal for the first time, I lost my anal virginity. Amy actually documented it. She's like, oh, January 14th, 2 years ago, because
it's in our shared calendar.
It's in our shared calendar.
Oh my God.
Because I never had anything against anal. I was just always fearful to try it. And I was like, I don't think it's for me. And I tried it once and I was like, it's not for me. And then kept exploring that and taking my time. And my partner was really patient and slow. And I discovered that now it's probably one of my favorite MOs when we get down, because I started exploring that. And when I'm by myself, that's not necessarily what I go to, but I continue to strive to think outside of my clitoral box, no pun intended, and tried to pleasure myself in all of these other ways. And now that we're on lockdown, I know some folks might have children, so it's hard, but you can lock yourself in your bathroom for a little bit. Maybe if they're napping or busy doing homework or Skyping or playing Fortnite or whatever their kids are doing these days, you could just take some time, go in your bathroom and get a toy or use your hands and touch other parts of your body that maybe aren't just your genitals, and see what comes up. And then with your partner or your next partner, or the next time you're playing with someone, have them watch you do that, or tell them that you like that. Because remember, we're not mind readers. No, and I always ask my partner, I have to check in, hey, do you like this? And it doesn't have to be consistent check-in like every 3 minutes. It can be like a going for it. And then I think also mutual masturbation is such a great way to tap into your partner's pleasure and yourself. So absolutely, this is a wonderful time for self-exploration and for masturbation, and to also just communicate what's happening with your body.
And now we have the time. Like before, we could be like, oh, I'm busy, I'm working. But now it's like, your ass is home. You can be in the bathroom while your kids are doing Kumon. Like, you're good.
I'm dead. Kumon. Oh my God.
You can tell your hubby, I want you to Kumon me in the bathroom.
Yes.
I was waiting for that, Zack. Thank you.
So, but since most of us, not all of us, are single and we do have like partners right now, I feel like sex is kind of the go-to for most couples to stay busy, especially if you don't have children. You're like trying to keep yourself occupied. What if we've reached that point where we've had sex like 4 times every day for the past 25 days and we're like, okay, how do I tell my partner I'm not this horny anymore?
Well, okay, so I'm hearing there's kind of 2-part question. Well, I actually made up a second part of the question. One is that, how do I tell them, hey, I'm not as horny as I was before? And the second part I just made up that I think is really important is what I am seeing, or what April and I are seeing, both in, I do sex and relationship coaching. We're seeing this, and also in our listeners sharing this, and friends. They're running out of things to talk about with their partners. There's a single folks who are like, quarantine is really hard because I'm lonely. I want touch. I want connection. And then there's, and not all single folks feel that way. And then there's the partnered folks there's some that are really stoked. Thank God I have a partner during this time. And there's a lot that are like, I'm going crazy. And so either they're going crazy because they don't have a lot of personal space maybe their house is small, or even if their house isn't that small, they're like, I just don't have my escape. Work was my escape, or I was hanging out with friends in social environments. And what I'm also seeing is that a lot of people aren't experiencing newness, right? So things have become a little like, all right, same thing. I wake up, I have my coffee, maybe I meditate, I go to a Zoom call online, I do my workout. And so when you're doing the same thing all the time, you don't have a lot of new things to share with your partner to be like, hey, here's something cool and exciting that I learned or that I saw today. So, this is one thing that I'm seeing is kind of common. So I think this speaks to the desire to want to fuck your partner. You need newness. You need things to connect on. It isn't just about sex. It's just about feeling like we have something kind of hot and spicy to talk about. It doesn't have to be sex again, but it can be like, I listened to a podcast. Here's what I learned, or I read this new book, or I had this conversation with someone over Zoom. And so my advice to folks is to, whether during quarantine or not in quarantine, to continue to do the work to create newness in your life, whether single or partnered. Like, you need it as an individual too, but to keep that fire burning in your relationship, you need to create ways to have newness in your life. And also, because that creates mystery, you also need your own space. Like, that's part of what Esther Perel talks about in the individuation versus the overly attachment thing that happens to people. Like, right now, people are kind of like overly attached often if they're all just like hiding out in the same home. And so they need to still have personal time to connect with them, and then it will make them more excited to go back to their partners. So that's one thing that I wanted to share about that. And two, how do you share that with your partner? Maybe not to say, hey, I'm not horny anymore, I don't want to fuck you anymore, not like that, but so you can share, like April and I talk about sharing vulnerably and using nonviolent communication. We're big fans of sharing what's good first. So like, hey, I really love you, and there's parts of this quarantine I am loving, like we're about spending time with you, and we're getting a lot more time. And not the word but, because no one follows but unless it's for anal. And here's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like a little less desire here because there's so much access here to you and us, or because I don't have a lot of personal space, and it's not because I don't love you. And here's what I'm desiring or needing. So how can we work together to create that space? Is it that you go for a walk for, an hour or two and I get the house to myself, or I do the same, or that, I get, when I'm in this room, I put a do not disturb sign and you leave me some space.
Leave me alone.
And self-pleasure practices can be a part of that. You can have that conversation and say, okay, I realize we share the same bed and we're often together, but I know I still need this space. So maybe I can have the bedroom to myself for an hour, like every Tuesday and Thursday, or maybe every day of the week. I don't know. But it's just having a loving conversation about it.
The shit sandwich, Amy, or the compliment sandwich. That's how you serve it up. It's like the information's in the middle. That's what I call it, the shit sandwich.
I love that.
Yeah.
Try that in all aspects of life.
Oh yeah, I feel like now is like such a really good time to. Well, most of us are like meditating and trying to do like inner self work with ourselves. Like, now is also the time to like invest in that inner work, but like within your relationship, and to have those conversations and to do meditations together. I mean, shit, go on YouTube and do some tantric yoga together. I mean, that's a fun little vibe. Abigail, should we talk about, like, for those of us that are single and we're like sexting or like needing some sort of, like, I'm still on the dating app, so I'm still trying to get like, I'm still going on like FaceTime dates.
So that was my question. You're doing virtual dates?
I am. There's this guy that lives in LA but is stuck and quarantined in New York right now, and we've been FaceTime dating. We met on Hinge, and so that's been like a fun vibe. But like, I'm curious to see what happens once he gets back to LA. And like, we do boom boom in the bedroom.
Okay.
So are you dating right now, or what are you doing?
No, I mean, like, I feel like I'm just like, I don't even know if you could call it pulling out. Like, I'm just like video chatting with some people, but like not dating.
Are you a cam girl now?
Like, no, yeah, I'm making my money off of it. No. I have two people that I'm just kind of like fucking around with lightly, like just, some photos, some like little like, virtual sex stuff to keep me busy. But like, it's nothing that's gonna, it's not turning into anything. It's just entertaining at this point. But yeah, but good for you for like, see, I feel like I can't get to know people. It's hard for me to get to know people if I'm not in the same space as them, as far as like virtual, like I haven't touched Hinge. I haven't touched Raya since we went on quarantine, just because for me, like, it's more difficult to kind of get to know somebody over. Like, I like those in-person cues and all of that stuff that I think is a little more difficult. FaceTiming, which you're clearly better at. Like, the people that I'm talking to now, I know, so it's like I'm not getting to know anybody.
Creative with FaceTiming. I feel like there's that barrier there's that lack of intimacy. April, are there things that we can do when we are kind of either sending like some naughty Snapchats or FaceTime sex with somebody while we're like social distance sexting? Like, is there a way that we can kind of enhance that intimacy without having to physically be together?
Absolutely. One thing is, we did this long distance relationship podcast with this wonderful expert, and what they recommended was, especially if you have some rapport, you've maybe dated the person before quarantine, so they know how you feel, and together, when you're together, how you interact. And regardless, I'll get to the virtual aspect if you've never met them before. But one thing they said is you could mail some of your clothing or underwear or something that they could smell and touch, which I thought was really cool. Or a clone-a-willy or a clone-a-pussy. Absolutely. I love that, Zack. Yes. Because it really is. It's helpful to have something. The Bluetooth technology these days with products, toys, is incredible as well. So you could virtually connect with your partner if you want to. You can order a toy sent to them, and that's a major capability of being in 2020, is that we have this technology available. One thing I would suggest right now, which Amy and I have talked about before, is since you have all of this downtime and you perhaps are on some dating apps and not in others, you could take this time to really improve your dating app game, right? Get your profile all like dialed in, so it's kind of capturing maybe more folks than it would have before. And maybe don't limit your options so much. Maybe open up some of your age bracket or gender bracket, for that matter. If you want to get, a little crazy, maybe I'll explore some other genders this month. Obviously, if that's, obviously not for everyone. But It's just like thinking outside of the box and maybe not sticking to what you thought was just for you, and becoming a little bit more open-minded. Now, as far as like the sexy pictures, FaceTiming, it can get awkward. I am like the most awkward video sexting person ever. Like, I'm on video, I'm like, I don't. So what I do, I take my face out of it and then just focus on my body, and that helps me tap into what I'm doing and getting out of my head. So I'm not just looking at my facial expressions, all embarrassed. And then I try to actually tap into the sounds, because sounds, the audible nature of humans, is really a turn on for a lot of people, more than even the visual. A lot of times I love the audible aspects of sex in general. Even on porn, I could like look away and just listen and still have an orgasm. So and I'm sure Amy has things to share. She's been on dating apps much more than I have. I helped her on dating apps.
She helped me with one. Yeah, my best Tinder date was through April, and she choosing the person, and she's like, it's a match. She was married at the time, so she was living vicariously through my singleness. But yeah, I mean, I love all of that, and I love what April said about the part of people getting their heads and their faces involved, with your heads involved, and so just focus on the body. If you are doing more of like a sexy FaceTime or a Zoom. Also, I'm a big fan of playing games and getting playful. And what I know of a lot of people right now, they're playing like old school games like Truth or Dare and Never Have I Ever and 21 questions. And you can make them sexy, and you can also just make them a way of getting to know each other. But starting to get playful instead of just making it like an interview, like, so what are you doing right now? Because that could get boring. Like, oh, we're running out of shit to talk about. But like, go in with an intention of ways that you're going to interact with this person and make it playful and maybe even silly. And if anything, if it's not a match in the sexual realm, at least you have someone that you just, a new play partner to have a good time with. I think, I love seeing the creativity that's coming out right now. I even know some people that did an online sex party that I actually attended. That as April was talking about, just all these people. It was amazing. All these people on all these little screens, like 25 to 30 of them, all either masturbating themselves because they're alone, or actually having sex because they're with other people, all on these screens. And you hear all the sounds, and it's super sexy. And so maybe you're someone who's like has a play party community, organize that, like put that together and be like, hey, all my other awesome, sexy, kinky, perverted friends, however they identify, let's all get on a call and just take the screen away from our faces on our bodies and start touching ourselves and see what happens.
Right?
Wow.
I love that. Zach's like, see you later, Zach. Let's organize that.
I'm going to organize a sex party and be like, all right, everybody, let's have a hashtag adulting sex party.
Right?
Abigail, what are your, I know you're way better at like sending naughty pictures than I am. Do you have any like tips for like angles or like outfits?
Oh, I always have my light on, or I'll do it against the light. Like lighting is everything. It really is. Like I cannot say that enough. Like there's times where I'm like, holy shit, I can't send anything. Like I look disgusting. And like, then you're like, oh, the sun went down. It's fine. Like it's a softer glow or what, I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but Zach, you have a light. You can adjust it. You can throw like a sheet over it. You can soften it. You know, there's certain things like that. And then I think also too, like April was saying, it can get awkward. Like I'm kind of an awkward person in certain senses where it's like maybe instead of doing it live video, you send like little like naughty Snapchats back and forth, or you send like an Instagram DM back and forth where you put like, I always put the expiration where they can only watch it once. I'm not anyone keeping things, especially if I don't trust them like fully. But I mean, maybe you do that where you kind of have a little bit more control over what you're sending out. And I don't know. Nothing's really off limits. I guess don't take yourself too seriously.
I totally got in trouble though a few years ago. So be mindful, everyone that's pre-recording things. I did these sexy photos when I was single, and they had my head in them. They weren't, in my opinion, they were very tasteful. I had lingerie on. There were some compromised positions. I was facing a mirror, and so you could see a lot of things. And I had high boots on. Anyway, great. Sent them to my Scottish lover at the time, and then I actually quit my job, and I forgot that I had this company iPad, and I like fucking checked in all my gear, made sure my computer was all clean.
Oh my God.
And then come to find out I had a friend at the company, and she's like, so yeah, by the way, did you have some pictures in some red lingerie? I was like, yeah, what do you do? How do you know that? She's like, well, the CEO happened to see those and thought you left him like a special parting gift. But like when you left, I was like, oh, the iCloud. Oh my God. Because I hadn't used the iPad in so long. So just be mindful of where your photos are going.
What they're on. Yeah.
Oh my God. That was like major just embarrassment. And thankfully they were, I thought, more tasteful than not. However, just if you're going to do that, make sure your head's not in it and delete it from the cloud, everyone.
Yeah.
Delete from the cloud. And lighting is everything. Amy knows I am a lighting magician, right? So I will position things, and I have this light that clips onto my cell phone. It's like a selfie light. And
like a circular?
Amazing. Yes. And it has 3 different settings, and it totally makes everyone look flawless. So if they're cheap, you could get one for like $5 probably on Amazon.
I'm a huge fan of red light bulbs and red lighting. It's super sexy. And if you don't have a red light bulb, you have like a red scarf or something and put it over your lamp, and it turns into like the sexiest red light district, and it makes all bodies look really hot.
Yeah, so lighting, angles. I'm like a big fan of like natural. I think you just have to play around with your angles and play around with the lighting that you have. I love natural lighting because it just naturally makes me feel like I have a great filter on. But yeah, I think you have to get creative. I mean, and there are little filters on the Instagram and Snapchat that you can like give a little vibe to.
Yeah, and also too, like it's just don't take it so seriously. Like the other person's probably just as like not insecure, because I think that's really aggressive, but
no. I will clarify. Most dudes don't give a shit. That's why they send the ugliest dick pics with like stains on their mirrors and their bedroom that is a hot ass fucking mess. Dudes don't give a shit. As long as you're sending them anything, they're just happy with that. I know me, I zoom into the pictures. I want to know what type of soap you're using, because if you're using, like Dial and it's going to give my kids cancer in the future, then like swipe left. But like, I want to know like what your hygiene.
Oh my! I love you.
How clean you are. Like I'm doing the full analysis. I don't want to see your dick. I just want to see your lifestyle.
That is such a good point, Zach, because every time my friends get dick pics or dick vids, I don't look at the dick.
You look
I
at
look at the scene. I'm like, what scene
Everything
is this person living in? Oh my God, there's a bag of trash that they didn't take out yet. Oh my God, did you see how dirty their bathroom is? I'm like, no, be done. No.
Why is their bed not made?
Yeah. Oh, they are.
Or oh my God, they sent this to you in the daytime, but it's nighttime, and this is something that he's probably had on his phone and sent it to a lot of other
million people. Oh my God,
they recorded dick pic.
Oh my God, I can't.
You best believe that if I'm taking a photo, then I'm going above and beyond and cleaning the whole fucking house to make it look perfect. And they don't give a shit.
I love that.
Should we do takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, wait, no, I have to ask this question. That one of my followers, I was like, hey, we're gonna do this episode. Like anyone who has questions, and this was like the best one that I got. So this, she was talking to this guy, and then all of a sudden, like, Safer at Home happened, and she found out that he was quarantining with another girl. What do you think, like, the thoughts are on that?
Wait, so will you explain again? Because for some reason didn't hear something. You said something.
Oh, it's okay. She was talking to this guy. They were dating, but they were like fucking. Yeah. And then she all of a sudden like saw. I'm not sure if she saw on his Instagram or if it was like, I don't know. But somehow now she knows, and it's not like out there that he's quarantining with another girl. And she was like, "What do I do?" Yeah.
So it's like it was kind of casual, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh, he's quarantined with another girl. If it's casual and there's not, pre-negotiated, like, are we just seeing each other? I think it's just another like direction of dating, whether it's like the same thing that wasn't quarantine. They were just casually fucking. All of a sudden she just sees a picture on Instagram of him on a date with someone else. It would be the same thing. Now quarantine with someone, you're kind of shacked up with them though, so that's like that's even more of a, I think a bigger blow. Like, oh, you're shacked up with someone, like there's this means something. What I will say that people are shacking up with people that they might not be that aligned with. Yeah. They're just like, we were already kind of fucking, let's do this, because I don't want to be alone, and we need to kind of choose. That's what they're saying for like poly people right now. They're like, just choose one partner right now. Don't like pass it around to all of your people. And so it might just be that's for her to consider, like, to not take it personally, and to consider that it might just like maybe they had a little more alignment, or maybe they were seeing each other a little bit longer, and maybe they're, who knows if there really is a connection there or not. I mean, I know people that are in a relationship and it's not going well, but they are like, we're going to ride it out to the end of this and we'll break up after. So like that is a thing.
Okay.
I would suggest
for your like sanity.
I know for sure. And you just have to write it out. I would suggest, and I think that's what Amy said is great. And I would just add that it's a perfect time to get clear with the people, have some radical honesty, and address it straight away. Hey, wanted to check in with you. I know we were just banging it out prior to this quarantine lockdown situation. I just noticed some photos of you with someone else, and I wanted to just check in. Are we still able to, get freaky digitally, or should I just move on? Should I be?
I like that. Yeah.
Because it's like, what do you have to lose at this point? I mean, you're not going to fuck him right now because he's not available. And so if you backed up with someone else, that's okay. Maybe just get clear and realize that you're not going to lose anything aside from maybe your sanity. You'll get some of that back by not obsessing over his social media pages.
Yeah, I love that you said that part, that what people do when we're in isolation, we have time with the stories we create, like, it's X, Y, and Z. Oh my God. Instead, I love what April said, like, just have that hard conversation. It's not a fun conversation, and you can do it lovingly, where you're just like, hey, I noticed this, and this is what we were doing. This has changed. I'm just curious. You don't even need to do the conversation in a way that needs like a certain outcome. It's just coming from curiosity, so that you don't go down the rabbit hole of like, what does all this mean?
Sure. I love that. Thank you. She will be listening. So
she needs to get back on Bumble, is what it sounds like.
Right, get back on Bumble.
Find yourself a new man, especially if he's he'll need to be banging it out with somebody else. But yeah, no, I think in terms of takeaways, because Amy and April, we like to close every show with our biggest takeaways from the conversation, and I think one thing that one theme that rang true, whether it was being alone right now or being in a relationship or being in a long distance relationship, is that like communication is key, and you need to really articulate how you're feeling and what you're going through, and make sure that even though whether we're together or not together, we're still very clear in what our communication is with other people and even with ourselves. I think that's one big thing that we've been hitting on, is like being able to be okay and sit with whatever we're going through. I think a lot of us right now are self-medicating and trying to avoid whatever icky feelings we may be like dealing with inside. And you have to kind of also be in tune with that. So communication is key. Now is a great time to explore your body and explore some new fun stuff with your partner. I mean, you can, tie each other up and like really kind of explore, get a cucumber and try anal for the first time. Like, you have options. And then the third one is you can absolutely still have a good time via Skype sex. I did it yesterday and it was great.
Oh.
And Zack, anal with the cucumber is not the smartest thing though, because it doesn't have a stopper, so it could get sucked up in there.
Oh yeah, no, we don't want to do that. We want the cucumbers to come out, not in.
Yes, so we want something with a stopper. So just use something with a base on it, and a finger works well because it has a base.
Or if you go cucumber, you're gonna go for a nice, really, really long one that it would be pretty hard for your rectum to
go all the way.
Don't use the English cucumbers.
The Persian
cucumbers. You need the big ones.
Go English cucumber. They're very long.
Oh my god.
Yes.
We're not speaking about race or culture here, everyone. We're talking about cucumbers.
No, we're talking about cucumbers.
Yes.
Exactly. I would say for my takeaways, pretty similar in the sense that, alone time is key, whether you have kids, a partner, or you're like me by myself. It's good to actually be in touch with being fully aware of and being alone and like enjoying that and kind of going through. Now's the time to go through anything that you have built up or any issues that you have. Like, if you don't have time now, when are you going to have time? I think also too, not taking things personally right now. Like, people are in all different spaces at all different times. So I think like with my friend and, her dude or whatever, being upfront, being honest, and that's going to get you further than anything else. And then also creative dates. So I really can be dating virtually. You had great ideas, Amy, with doing, truth or dare, other games that are going to make things more interesting than, so where'd you go to school? Like, what do you do? So I think that those are all really great takeaways for the remaining time that we are locked in.
And I have, just one other thing I wanted to share. I have, if you decide to go, you're like, okay, I can't do this virtual date anymore. I need to be you in person. It depends where you live, if this is accessible, but bike rides, you can be 6 feet away, and you can even wear your headphones and actually be talking to them on the phone while you're riding and still kind of be in person with them. And there's ways to still be in person with people, but still be far away from them, like 6 feet away there too. Sure. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on lastly was just the part that you're saying, a lot of people are self-medicating right now. And which is like, I mean, I'm one of them at times. I'm like, April, it's only 2:00. I need wine. Sometimes 12 o'clock. I'm a balanced kind of person. And I think that's okay at times, right? Just to watch that. And as long as you have taking time for some embodied practices, whether it is that meditation, whether it is embodied, present self-touch and sex with yourself or with others, I think it's okay. We just want to have moments of that, so we're not just all head and disconnected and trying to escape, because I think that's going to be a really important medicine right now too, is just make sure you have some of those embodied practices throughout the day.
1000%.
I like that.
Thank you guys so much for calling in and chatting with us. Where can they listen to the Shameless Sex Podcast and follow you guys each on social?
We are at Shameless Sex Podcast on Instagram. Check us out. We're actually giving away products every Friday on our live Instagram at 12 p.m. Pacific time. We gave away 100 free sex toys last week. We're giving away 100 free on our podcast that launches today. We're giving away Uber Lube. We're giving away a lot of free stuff to help people take the edge off their isolation and bring pleasure back into their lives right now. You can follow Amy at Amy Shameless Sex on Instagram. I'm sorry, Emily. No, it's just Amy at Shameless Sex. And I'm April Lampert. And our podcast is on every possible podcast app that you really can listen. We love iTunes. We love Google Play. We love all of them. So check us out, Shameless Sex. And we drop new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And you can become part of the Shameless Sex revolution.
Love it. And you guys can follow me at Abigail _AF on all socials. And Zack?
Yeah. You can follow me at Just Plain Zack. Don't forget to follow the show at The Adulting Podcast. Go to theadultingpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter. We have some fun giveaways we're going to be doing this month as well to help you guys stay sane, stay healthy. We may even ship you guys some wine if we're feeling generous enough. We all need to survive right now. Don't forget to listen to #Adulting. Life hacks get your shit together every Tuesday on iTunes and Spotify and all podcast platforms. We're everywhere, right, Abigail?
We everywhere, even places that I don't know.
Everywhere, yeah. Even in the red light district, we're there too.
We're
Thank
there.
you for listening. Be sure to leave us a good 5-star review because we love that validation. And until next time, we'll be busy.
#Adulting.
Yay!